black holes made of dark matter. So in case you guys don't know what is dark matter is, let me give it a short introduction of it. So dark matter is something which is spread all over the universe, and the reason they are called dark is because they don't interact electromagnetically. They just don't emit any sort of light, and any kind of light, they just don't emit, or neither they reflect. you know and that's the reason that they are undetectable, and we call it dark. And do they interact weak or strongly? We don't know it, because we don't know what are dark matter particles actually made of. But all the thing we know is that they interact gravitationally, and that's why even the reason is that we know that dark matter exists, but we all don't know what exactly it is. But we know that dark matter exists is because the reason that they interact gravitationally. So when we talk about galaxies, as we make our observation, the mass content in the galaxies, as we calculate based on the radiation we get from them, the mass content of the galaxies seems to be insufficient to maintain that structure of a galaxy the way it is. So if in case we don't include dark matter into the game, that galaxy to contain the dark matter particles, the galaxy just would be can't be sustaining its shape, there. So that galaxy would be not stable then. It not even form galaxy. Now, for a stable galaxy, as we look at them, it needs to have some sort of unknown mass, which we don't know, which the mass which not even reflects light, and we don't know what exactly it is made up of, because we've never seen it. Now, not even they interact weakly or strongly, but we don't know about them, whether they interact weakly or strongly, because we don't know what exactly they are made of. So that is what dark matter is. It's basically our need, or something, a system. We need a system to have a particular mass, like for example, say a galaxy, and that we don't know what that mass exactly is, but we don't know that it interacts gravitationally, and so we call it a particular type of matter it is. So, and the reason, and we call it dark because it doesn't interact electromagnetically, making it impossible, near to impossible to even see it. And when you talk about dark matter, they just interact gravitationally. They can even interact gravitationally with normal mass, although we can never feel it because they don't interact electromagnetically, since I said. And so when we say, for example, I have this palm and we touch it, now this is because when I touch it, I can feel it. Now the reason is because there is some electrostatic force in between the atoms of my palms and the finger, and that is my finger, and that makes me feel the, what do you say, my palm, right? In case of dark matter, we don't feel their presence, or we can't touch it, is because they just don't interact electromagnetically with anything. All the thing they interact is with other masses, and with all the dark matter particles, which is gravitationally. Now, when it comes to answering the main question of this, video, can we form a black hole out of dark matter? Now, when you talk about black holes, it's just not a game of having several bunch of particles all together and now and clump together, and we form a black hole. Because when we talk about black holes, it is an event of imploding star which creates that black hole. So when we say black hole, many people say it's just due to the gravity of a star. Of course, gravity of the star is the major player of the game, but it's the residual, what say, it's the strong force of a star which maintains its surface, is the electron degeneracy pressure of a white dwarf, since it goes through that phase as well. And it's a neutron degeneracy pressure, again it's a phase with the star goes, when it gets imploded into a black hole. Now all these hindrances which don't allow the which just hinder for star which just hinder star to form a black hole, all these forces actually act like an agency to start for an implosion of a star to happen in a particular way. And that particular way is actually the reason why the black hole is the way it is. So when we could talk about of the formation of a black hole, it happens within a very short amount of time. So as it happens within a very short amount of time, the very violent implosion, it ends up being creating a hole in space-time. It ends up being breaking the fabric of space-time. And since it's, as I said, it's the violency of an event which actually has created a black hole. In case of dark matter, if you clump the dark matter particles, you just end up being creating the vast, vast space-time curvature. If we have a huge amount of dark matter interacting with each other gravitationally, then we just end up being creating, the huge space-time curvature. But for a black hole, we need that to be happening in a particular way, and which only happens when the star implodes, and the that hindrances which makes which is against forming black holes, let's say. I mean, the hindrances like the weak and strong force of star, I mean the strong force of a star, neutron degeneracy pressure, electron degeneracy pressure. This all acts like an agency for that event to happen violently, and that violent event is what actually create the space-time the way the black hole is. And it's the again the violency of an event which creates the black hole, which we don't see in case of when we clump the dark matter particles. So that's the reason why we don't have a black holes just made of dark matter.